welcome to Wigan Fan TV. It's grand final week. We've made it. We were not off air. Last week was not our last show. We're going for one more week. This is the encore. And in true encore style, I can promise some music of some sorts later on from Mr. Matt McCauley in the corner of your screen. Joining me tonight, we've got Matt, we've got David. Matt, are you well?
I'm well. I'm good. I'm excited.
Yeah, well, there's no reason not to be excited, really, in grand final week. St. Helens aren't there, which probably makes it a little bit better. And David, yourself, are you well?
Yeah, good. A little bit nervous, obviously, with all the Warrington connections around me, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Perfect. So one thing that we're going to do today, and anybody that's watching, I'll keep mentioning it, and we'll do it in sort of 20 minutes time or something, is I just want to have a little bit of an experiment with a quiz. Now, it's not a very difficult quiz. So anybody that's watching, anybody that is watching, if you can watch on a phone and grab an iPad or grab a laptop or grab somebody else's phone, ideally you want two screens so that you can do the quiz on one screen and watch us on the other one. So it's going to be an interactive quiz. Matt's got, God knows what, a laptop and a phone and all sorts in front of him ready to go.
Phone, laptop, sorted.
So anybody that's watching and wants to have a go in the quiz, you'll be competing directly against Matt and David. So no pressure, David, no pressure, Matt. And basically, the winner will once they win, they'll get a little message on the phone saying first place. If you screenshot that and send it through to me, I basically want to get rid of all the oddballs rubbish that's been sent. Not rubbish, all the oddballs stuff that's been sent. So you can have an England hat, a wall of white hat, and then we've still got one of these stubby holders. So that is basically what is on the line. So you can win a hat and a stubby holder, and probably a biro in this draw as well. We'll throw a biro in. No Fizzeco though.
Might be able to get a Fizzeco as well. Just for the win.
We'll throw in postage though for a Fizzeco. We're not that highbrow. We can't afford it. We can't afford that kind of postage. Right. So we'll keep reminding you. Try and get to the devices if you possibly can, so that we can do the quiz later on. But first of all, let's talk about Wigan. Let's talk about the semi-final first of all. Wigan 14, Castleford 0. David, first of all, your thoughts on that game. To keep Castleford to 0, I guess, is perhaps the biggest point from that game.
Yeah, I think defensively, Wigan were just immense. I've not seen defensive performance like it for quite some time. Typified by the tackle on Eden in the corner. I think Bateman and the right wing combination sort of bundled him into touch, and Castleford were fired up for it, but I think, listening to Radlinski this week, he sort of said, I think there was no way Wigan were going to lose that game. So the confidence that's given them is, priceless, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'll obviously talk about the grand final in a second, but I feel the same way about the grand final, which possibly isn't a good thing and perhaps overconfidence. But we'll touch on that in a second. Matt, yourself, we watched from a distance, camping out in Romain Navarrete's garden. Firstly, was the signal good in his garden, and what did you make of the game?
It was good in patches. The game. Hang on, I'm just envisaging now Daryl Powell's face again, because that is good.
His arms.
That is good. Yeah. I think he was saying hallelujah.
I think he was doing he was starting the cheerleaders, wasn't he? He was doing the W, and then the cheerleaders doing the I.
Put your hands in the air.
Yeah, it was just doing that wrong, wasn't it? The Wigan way.
Well, the biggest thing.
Bless him.
So we was talking about the sort of the defensive performance and sort of relate this to the grand final. Do you think defence is going to? We won the semi-final, Matt, for Wigan. Do you think that's going to be key in the final to sort of win the grand final for Wigan?
Yeah, it always is in a grand final, isn't it? They're always really tight games. But at the same time, Warrington's defence in their semi-final was really, really tight too. So we're going to need something special to crack Warrington at the same time as holding them at bay. We're going to have to be the best of both worlds. We're going to have to win in attack and defence.
You've got your cliche bingo card out again, haven't you?
I have, yeah.
I think you've got a line already.
All we need to do is score more points than them.
And
in a game of two halves.
You've got to remember it's a game of two halves. Now, we've got a special guest joining us who's just about to log in. We're going to build the suspense and sort of wait for him to log in, and then I'll bring him on screen. So let's sort of reflect on the Castleford victory. Do you think that we provided David enough in attack to trouble Warrington? Is that sort of the area of the game that we're going to have got to really work on? I'm going to bring this special guest on the screen, so get really excited as we're talking. There we go. Hello, Mark.
Well, hiya. How are we doing? What have I missed?
Not a lot, really.
It's Mark!
We've just been building
Surprise!
We've been building you up as this really special guest.
I was desperately trying to find the link. It was the amount of conversation we've had about retro shirts since we last shared the link.
So we just...
That shirt.
All what we're talking about.
That's the one.
Actual shirt. Like, save that fact for later on, because that's an incredible fact and it blew my mind, and it's not actually that good. But let's talk about Wigan Castleford, Wigan Warrington. David, thoughts on attack? Is that the place that Wigan have got to really improve on Friday night? Saturday night. I'll be there too early.
Yeah, it would be nice to score more points, but as I said, I think it's defence that wins your grand finals. The last couple, obviously, the last grand final against Warrington was only a couple of scores. The one before was a little bit more open. Sort of Wigan put the afterburners on in the second half, but I'm not worried about the attack. I think that the attack will look after itself. I think they need to make sure if we can repeat that defensive performance that we had against Castleford, I don't think Warrington will get through. I think we'll win the grand final, and that's the key for me. Just making sure we keep that intensity. And I think they will, with the emotional attachments and everything that's going on. I think the players, particularly, Sam Tompkins, John Bateman, they've got a lot of respect for Sean Wayne. I think the players will put the bodies on the line one more time for Wayne more than anything else.
I'm just reading this. Looks like Matt has pads on.
Shoulder pads.
It probably is. It's probably like an actual sort of former player.
It's his shirt.
Dennis Betts hasn't taken his shoulder pads out of it or something. Right. Tell us this amazing fact about this shirt. Go on.
Okay. I remembered this last night while I was in bed checking my messages. There were two versions of this shirt. I am currently wearing the first version, which is noted for the big shoulder look. And also for the fact that it's got solid black bars on the bottom bit down here, and this bit here is kind of quite uneven. And Norweb, the sponsors, didn't like that. They said it detracted from their lovely Norweb emblem, and so the second version of the shirt came out, no big black bars at the bottom, and that was all kind of made a bit tidier. It looks shitter as a result, but that's Norweb for you.
See, who knew that there was actually two versions of that shirt? That blew my mind. Like, it's really not that good.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Is it? But
I might have dreamt it.
No, I liked it.
It's legitimate.
Yeah, I like that as a reason, and I like it that Norweb didn't want it to detract from their amazing logo, which is like some kind of standard font that came on Windows 95. It's
Times New Roman.
Times New Roman 12. They put a bit of bold in there as well. So I'm going to say this one more time now that Mark's with us. So basically, anybody that's watching, we're going to have an on-screen quiz in 15 minutes or so. So grab an iPad, a tablet, or whatever you can, and it's basically an interactive one. Up for grabs, a biro, a possible Fizeko if David pays for the postage, a stubby holder, and an oddballs hat, and whatever else I can find on my desk. And the prize fund is going to keep on increasing. There's nothing good in the study. I'm like looking around some random books, but we'll keep it to
I've got a roll of tracing paper.
Wow, that's an impressive. Yeah, who has tracing paper nowadays? What is?
I've got some Afterbite.
Okay, has it been used?
Did Roman Navarrete?
I've not been bitten much lately.
Yeah, did you need it for Navarrete's garden?
From the bushes.
Right,
He's got all sorts in those weeds. He needs a good pruning, that lad.
Let's go to Mark for some sort of common sense on some statistical analysis or some sort of tactical analysis on Saturday night. How do you see Saturday night? Saturday night? Yeah, that's when.
Yeah, yeah, that's when they're playing. Yeah, I didn't realise we were talking about Saturday already and not Friday.
We'll talk about whatever we want to with you, Mark. It's
well, no. So my sort of insight isn't at all by the numbers or anything like that this week. last Friday's game, and I'm still buzzing from it. Last Friday's game showed me that we can cope with the emotion, I think, which I was worried about because after the Wayne news coming out when we were amazing at Magic Weekend, then we heard about Wayne was leaving, there was a dip in form, all of that happened. That made me a little bit worried about carrying the emotion of this through to the end of the year and what it would mean. But last Friday night being the last home game for so many of the players and for Sean Wayne, and the way that Castleford came out and tried to knock our heads off and wind us up and get us into this aggressive, over the line aggressive game, and we just didn't fall for it really. We kept to our game plan, we kept our emotions in check. We played physical rugby league, but within the constraints of the rules, and it taught me that these guys have got their emotions in check. So that's made me really confident for Saturday.
You want to just say how well Dan Sargison's been playing?
He's been good, hasn't he? He's been good. Him and Gildart have both been good. I think they've all been. I think the Gildart was great defensively, weren't he, on Friday night though?
Yeah, and I think the switch from left to right or right to left has worked well for them. But I mean, Anthony, you might just be winding everybody up, but there you go. I know that Mark has been sort of saying how impressed you've been with Dan Sargison over the past few weeks. So he
hasn't made any stupid mistakes, has he? And he put in a couple of big hits as well on Friday night. And you got to remember as well. I mean, Farrell won the man of the match, didn't he, in the last grand final? But Sarge must have run him a quite close second. I think he was everywhere in that game, and so he's shown he can do it on the big stage. So I'm certainly not worried about any of the players in any way.
We talked last week quite a lot about what you just touched on there, Mark. Is this emotion and how it can sort of inhibit teams sometimes and prevent performance at times, and perhaps that happened at Warrington earlier in the year in the Challenge Cup. But David, do you see that now with what Mark said? Is it shows that they can play with this emotion? They know how to generate it in a positive way. You look, I've seen these sort of conspiracy theories about somebody wins every time somebody retires at Old Trafford, which isn't true. Because Kieran Cunningham retired, didn't he, in 2010 and didn't win. But how important is this emotional side? And like Mark said, are you impressed with the way that Wigan managed to control that on Friday gone?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's a lot of comments, mostly from Yorkshire around the refereeing performance and the penalty count. But I think 5 of the penalties were for high tackles anyway, which you couldn't complain about. Yeah, as you said, Sean, the emotional side's been sort of tagged on, but I think it tags on to suit people, doesn't it? If Warrington go and win on Saturday, it'll be Charlie's emotion playing against, the team he grew up with. So I think it can work both ways for you. But yeah, for me, the defence, I think that defensive commitment last week was, as a direct result, players putting the bodies on the line for Wayne. And like I said, Wayne's lost a lot of his lieutenants over the last couple of years, McAlaw and Matty Smith, Joel Tompkins, Sam Tompkins and John Bacon and Ryan Sutton again. One of Wayne's sort of on-field marshals, so I think they'll be giving it that. They'll be giving it everything and leaving everything on the pitch this weekend. So, yeah, and they did. They've not sort of risen to anything, and I think Wayne possibly learned as well. from the grand final when Ben Flower got sent off, because Wayne was notorious for getting the players up for games and getting them fired up and getting that fire in the belly. And I think that was, I think that was a learning curve, not just for the players but for Wayne himself.
That final, you could actually feel the emotion as the players walked onto the, after James had finished playing sit down and then the team sort of came out. You could really, really sense that in the game, and the players obviously did carry that into the game, perhaps a little bit too much in one of the cases. But Matt, over to you. Do you go with the same team on Saturday night, or the issue would be, do you go for a bigger bench and therefore Escaré misses out, or is this made for Morgan Escaré on Saturday night, a big pitch?
I think you can't. Can you change that team after Friday night? After such a controlled display, I no, because that was almost perfect defensively, wasn't it? And they stood up to Castleford. I think they'll stand up to Warrington. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a different team. You've got the likes of Ben Murdoch Masala, who is very difficult to stop when he comes on. But then after 10 minutes, he's very difficult to start too. So
it's all right. Becky Greenfield tore down his misses on Sunday, and I'm sure that Morgan Escaré can do the same if Ben Murdoch Masala comes marching through.
So,
I'd like to think so. I think stick with what we've got. Stick with what we did on Friday. So that's the team to go with.
George put on here, Escaré and Patton will be influential. I mean, these are the two players that are sort of kept back, and then sort of released at the time where I think the coaches feel like they can have the biggest impact. Do you think, Matt, that this is made for Morgan Escaré? It just feels like the game he's had minutes over the past few weeks in the games before the semi-final, starting a few games, getting that experience, but just against tiring bodies. And Warrington have obviously got to the Challenge Cup final, lost that, as we all know, as they did, to pretty much a blueprint of, I think, what Wigan will try to do on Saturday night with this aggressive defensive performance that Catalans did against Saints and Warrington. But is this made now, do you think, for Morgan Escaré to sort of step up and make this final his?
Yeah, it's got everything going for him. It's a nice wide pitch, isn't it? Which will suit Escaré very well. Warrington have got some big bodies that will tire. Late on, he could prove the difference. I just hope it's not just two teams slotting drop goals at each other for like 60 minutes. That's my worry about the game.
Nathan says here about going back to the Super. I know, who is that? Nobody wants to admit it. It's you, Matt, isn't it? We've managed to do this. This is the 49th episode, and you managed to sort of disrupt it by getting. Who's texting you? Are you getting
a
Remain's lawyer? Cease and desist.
Yeah, another sort of story to sort of randomly go into is I bumped into Romain Navarrete's agent in Crazy Pedro's part-time pizza parlour on Tuesday night after the Man of Steel Awards in Manchester. So there you go. He's with Stanley Jean and somebody else who I knew, but I couldn't picture his face. I couldn't sort of place his face anywhere. There's somebody. Here we
How
go.
old was Stanley Jean looking? Still like about 7,000.
Yeah, about 17. He's had loads of Botox now. But I went up to him and
that's
said,
a lovely thought.
He just didn't want to. He didn't want to acknowledge that he was Stanley Jean. So whether I was completely wrong and just randomly went up to this guy and was like, "You're Stanley Jean, aren't you?" Ian's there watching in Idaho. Matthew, who is the Wigan runner, is going to be running. He's planning to run around Old Trafford before the game on Saturday to keep his running streak going up. Before we sort of go into the quiz and talk about other things about the grand final, Mark, you are our designated women's rugby league expert, whether you know it or not. And it is a grand final preview.
Like it's appropriate. I am on the women's board of the fan engagement board.
Actually. So as our resident expert in the women's game, two grand finals on Saturday. Obviously, the ladies take on Leeds at the Etihad campus beforehand. I know you watched the semi-final. Yeah. Your thoughts going into that game? Wigan seem to have a very good chance.
I think Leeds have been the standout side all year. They've won the Challenge Cup. They won the League Leaders Shield. They are missing their best player, Lois Forsell, who some might say is the best player in the competition. She picked up an injury a couple of weeks ago, but they managed to hammer Cass in the second half last week without her. So they won't. So it's going to be a really close game because Wigan are close-ish to the best strength team that they've been able to put out. A couple of players missing from the very early start of the season. On Sunday, it was a lot like the men's performance, to be honest. Absolutely fantastic goal line defence. Really kept Saints out repeatedly, frustrating the Saints as well. And then sparkling left edge attack. I was trying to find my Golden Edge t-shirt, but I couldn't find it. It must be in the wash. To show off the left edge attack again for the women. And Rachel Thompson, who I think is the most shocking omission from the England women's squad, based on what I've seen so far this year, unless she's carrying a bit of a knock and she doesn't want the extra games and that sort of thing. But she was outstanding. Her try, if you can find the highlights of that, her try that she scored in the first half, where she basically took on the whole of the Saints defence twice and then scored, was an outstanding physical and skillful effort, and her offload for the first try as well. So she's going to be key, as well as Gemma Walsh, who was the controlling influence. I think we've got a really good chance if the defence plays to the standards it's been playing with. What Leeds have been good at in their big games so far this year is second half performances. So we need to be make sure we're as fit as they are And if we can match them in that regard, I think we've got a good chance of winning both grand finals.
I think that's a really good point that you made there about fitness. The difference between the Wigan side at the start of the season when I watched the very, very first game and between that and the semi-final, obviously the part-time, they've all got jobs to go to as well, so they've got to train after work. But the fitness levels, the difference between the start of the season now is incredible. And I think you banged on with what you said. They're going to really need that against Leeds.
Two things that have really changed is obviously some of the players were coming in from union backgrounds or just not having played a lot of rugby league, but were talented athletes. And some of those players now just look totally different when they go into tackles, when they get tackled themselves. Everything they're doing looks like rugby league players. And they're amateurs, aren't they? But a couple of the bigger players, the forwards, Joni Aspin, I think she's called as well, who's been playing at loose forward recently, but one of the she wears number 10. They've been able to seem like they've got more stamina now than they had at the start of the season, so they're actually making an impact throughout the 80 minutes. It's going to be an exciting game, and it kicks off at 1:00. It's £5 to get in at the Manchester Regional Arena, which is next to the Etihad. You can then hop on a tram afterwards. It takes about 40 minutes, the tram ride, I think, and that'll take you through to, say, I think Salford Quays next Exchange Quay is on the same line that the Etihad campus is, and that's only a 10-minute walk around the corner from Old Trafford. So there's ample opportunity, I think, to get to both games.
Mark is a tram driver, so he does work for Transport for Manchester, and he is on commission. There's another thing that's happening on Saturday as well, where Betfred have put on so many taxis. Have you seen that? So they branded all these taxis up with Wigan and Warrington, and basically if you get to like Piccadilly or somewhere, and because of the train strike, you jump in a free taxi, they'll take you to Old Trafford, and one of the taxis will have £1,000 in as well. Matt, are you awake?
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just imagining jumping in a taxi for free.
Oh, right. I thought you were imagining trams. It's when we started talking about trams and trains. Like, right. Let's
do you like a bit of public transport?
Yes, we know. And people don't really like sitting next to you, I don't think, with those horns on public transport. But never mind. Let's sort of park the grand final. We're going to come back. We're going to sort of see where people think this game's going to be won and lost on Saturday and get some predictions. Before we go to the quiz, David, where are you sat at Old Trafford? What block are you in?
E something or other. Not sure.
E something. Mark, you're in about the same, aren't you?
I'm in the upper tier of the East stand. So, yeah, I'm in similar seats to what I was sat in 2 years ago.
Okay. Matt, where are you sat, Matt?
I don't know. I've not checked.
You sure?
I think what's happened, Sean, is the RFL have put the tickets in that specific place on the off chance that if Navarrete does score, it'll take far too long to get down the picking streak.
I mean, when they
Gareth sat?
When they changed the North Stand at Old Trafford to be called the Sir Alex Ferguson Stand, and they unveiled it on the top of they had men on the top who sort of dropped the ribbon or the banner to unveil it. If you imagine where that is and then go back a little bit, that's where Matt and his dad are sat.
It's quite higher. All right. I like a nice view from above. That's all right. I mean, the fact that they gave me climbing gear and crampons with my ticket is a bit worrying.
Right, let's have an attempt at this quiz. I haven't got a clue what's going to go on. So everybody that's watching, if you grab a phone or a tablet or a laptop, something like that, and I'll try to guide you through. Worst case scenario is the three of you are going to be competing against each other. But anybody that's what it's, let's see how it goes, and then maybe next year this could become a regular feature. However, I'm going to have to drop one of you off the screen and sort of swap you in at some point. So, Mark, first of all, I'm going to drop you off the screen so I can bring the quiz on. And then I'll swap you back in a second. You should still be able to hear me, though. Still hear me, Mark? Yeah, I think so. Who knows? Right. He's just smiling at me. Right, so let me see. Just bear with me. Matt, do you want to sing a song while I sort of get myself ready? Matt?
I don't know any songs.
You don't know any songs? Here we go.
What?
Right, everybody that's watching, if you, on your phone, on your tablet, on your laptop, if you type that into your screen, so kahoot.it, tap that into your browser, so on Safari or Chrome or whatever it is that you're using. I promise it's not a scam.
Just deposit.
Yeah.
Bank details.
And just pop your
Next
card
to your
details
bank
in.
details.
Oh, it's playing some music. I like this. We've got music to go with the quiz.
What's meant to happen now?
Just bear with me.
We need a pin yet, don't we?
You've got to wait for a pin number. Right, so that's a pin number. How the hell do I get rid of this music? Jesus Christ. So if you enter pin number 6240595, can you hear that music, or is it just in my ear?
It's just you. I think you're just imagining it.
Honestly, you want to hear this music? It's like the worst hold music you've ever heard.
Could I put a nickname in?
Yeah, so and then pick your name, but obviously pick something sensible. There might be children watching. So I'll pop the pin number on here so it's a bit bigger. So 6240595.
Where do I write that?
Where it says enter pin.
Where it says, so enter your pin number.
Yeah, I've not got that.
Oh, here we go. Kahoot.it.
Switch to these bank accounts, best interest rates and rewards.
I'm in.
Right, let's go back.
Come on, Matt.
Right, so who? Oh, come on. Don't want to start yet. We've got 9 players in at the minute.
Okay. I'm not one of them.
We've got Mark Illingworth. We've got Nathan Martineau. We've got Mr. Uncle Joe himself. We've got Zorg Rolf, who does all the cartoons. It's in our blood. We've got 11 players. We've got Phil.
I didn't realise it was Kahoot with a K. You never made that clear, did you?
It was on the screen.
624. What's the number?
6249595. I'm taking Matt off the screen for the second. Oh, I'm bringing him back on. Press the wrong one.
6240595.
Let's see if Mark's managed to log in. Mark, are you logged in?
Yeah, you said my name.
Oh yeah, I did, didn't I? Right, okay. Right, let's see if.
Why have I just got pictures of colours on my screen though?
Why have you just got? Oh, because we'll be starting it in a second.
Okay.
Like basically, it's a multiple choice quiz. Honestly, the quiz isn't actually that good. Matt, are you logged in?
I'm logged in.
What's your name?
Good to go.
On it.
Matty.
Matty. Who calls you Matty?
Nobody. I accidentally hit the Y.
Remain.
When we're spooning.
Oh, Matt. Your sister's watching.
She's not, is she?
Yes. There's no song, please. Right, we've got 15 players. We'll give 20 more seconds, see if anybody joins us, and then we'll start it. Sorry, David, I've kicked you off screen. He's not bothered. Right, 15 players, and we're going to start it. So the way that it works, multiple choice question, you basically get 20 seconds to answer each question, and the player that answers the question first, quickest, and right gets the most points. There's 1,000 points for each question, and there's a leaderboard after each round, so you'll see it. Let's give it a go. What's the worst that could happen?
Okay, tense.
Yeah, it is. Your sister's not impressed, Matt. Right, here we go.
I'm getting ready. Loading.
I'm loading.
Okay, so it should be on your screen.
Too.
Who scored the first
I've got it
in 1998?
I haven't got a question.
You've not got a
I can't
question?
see the question, the answers.
You just got
What is it? One of these shapes?
yeah.
Was it Jason Triangle?
Which
Jason
shape?
Diamond?
Put the quiz
Time
full
up.
screen.
I mean, is nobody playing this?
I was in first place.
You were in first.
I'm in 14th place. I tied with
I
Phil.
think I'm the only one who did it.
I think you are the only one who did it. There's only one person that's answered.
Make the quiz options full screen so we can read them easier.
Right, I tell you what. Right, something's gone really wrong here, hasn't it? Because there's only Mark that actually answered it. Let's try it. Let's go to the next question and see if anybody answers this apart from just Mark. Right, how many times have Wigan won the Challenge Cup?
Oh, I can't read the answers.
You just you take a shape.
Yeah.
That's
Right. There's more people joining in.
I get that. I get that I pressed one of the shapes, but it's supposed to link to one of the answers that's on the screen, but I can't see what numbers are next to them.
We've got 5
No,
people.
you just get a shape. There's no.
We've got 5 people that answered that one. So I think one of the issues may be the fact that there's probably a delay from us going live to it. And so Ian says he can only see shapes.
Yeah.
Will you read out the answers, the options for the answers, Sean, each time?
Okay, that's a good right. Okay,
The
here we
red
go.
triangle is this.
Okay, I'll read it from left. Yeah. Okay. Right. Next question. So, Mark, you're winning because nobody else is answering. In 2014 Grand Final, who scored the first try? So your options are Joe Burgess, Don Manfredi, Liam Farrell, Matt McCauley. So triangle Joe Burgess, blue Don Manfredi, orange Liam Farrell, green Matt McCauley. This is going terrible, isn't it?
The second half of that game went terrible. In fact, the first 2 minutes did as well, didn't it?
I think what we'll, when we do this again,
Yes.
everybody
Correct.
keeps timing out. Might be the delay from the video. Yeah, I think you're right. We'll sort of play it just because Mark's probably going to win. But I think in the future, what we'll do is we'll give everybody the longest seconds. Ian got that one right. Here we go. Right. So we've had 5 people that are consistently answering the questions. Next one. So Matt, you're in second. Ian in third. Nathan in fourth. Next one. Who has made the most meters for Wigan this season? So the answers are John Bateman, Sam Powell, Tony Clubb, or Tom Davis.
Any regular SLP listeners will know that one for certain.
Oh, come on.
It seemed like such a good idea as well. I hope the game.
I think I pressed the wrong one, but I don't know how.
The game goes better than this. Yeah, I really do hope it goes better than this. This is horrendous. But we've got 7 people that answered that one. Right. Mark, you're still winning. Next one. Which team has Sean Wayne not played for? Wigan, Leeds, Workington, or Whitehaven?
It's telling me I was too fast, but I've got it right. Sean, this is...
Slow down.
People are just answering in the comments now, so yeah, we'll give you some assistance.
And pat yourselves on the back, I think, when you get them right.
So Whitehaven was the right answer.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Mark,
I scored over 1,000 that time. How did I score over 1,000?
I feel like it's a flawed system.
It came up, obviously.
Who of the following didn't score in the 2015 final? Carmont, not 2015? I didn't. 2013. Carmont, Goulding, Charnley, or Richards? Who didn't score?
Oh no! What have I done?
You pressed the wrong one. Carmont was the right answer.
My answer streak's over.
Ian's on fire. Ian's catching you up.
He's just overtaken me.
Yeah. Oh, I'm screwed if Ian wins. I've got to send it to Idaho.
So I'm going over to the States next week. I'll take it with me.
Perfect.
It'll be just round the corner.
I'm not going to Idaho. I don't know who goes to Idaho.
Don't worry. The pain is about to end. We've not got many more questions left, and we can bring David back on in a second as well. So Ian's
how's David doing?
I don't think he's even doing it. He's asleep, I think.
Keep him out.
Just nodding his head. Nobody else.
Another question yet?
Yeah. Who has more assists this season? Sam Powell or Thomas Luluai?
Oh,
I wish you could hear this music.
Too fast.
Sam Powell, Thomas Luluai.
That's a good question. That one, Sean.
Sam Powell's the right answer. Only 3 people got that right.
I was one of them.
Oh, Mark, you're hanging
They were
on
all for Tony
86 points. Uncle Joe's the highest climber. He's up 4 places. Mark, you're hanging on by the skin of your teeth. Matt's coming for you. Right, next question. Who was the first ever guest on Wigan Fan TV?
Oh,
Mark, Matt, Steve Mascord, or Phil Wilkinson? Bit of a self.
How can you be too fast?
I don't know. I remember when I did it was about episode 3, I think.
So I didn't even know the answer to it until I looked. It was Matt.
I think Matt did the first one with you, and
Yeah.
then I was the next person.
Let's see where we are.
And someone had to go at my jumper.
Matt is now winning. It all comes down to the last question. Matt, you may be winning.
What? How's it? I got it right.
You're obviously not quick enough.
Rubbish.
Right, last question, and then this pain of torture will be over and done with. Which player has the most international caps? Morgan Escaray, Ben Westwood, Sam Tompkins, or Josh Charnley?
Oof.
You're getting quite excited there, Mark.
It's tense. It's tense, Matt. Matty, sorry. As we now call you for the quiz.
Ben Westwood is the right answer. Let's see who won the oddballs hat and the stubby holder. Matt, you won. You got 6 out of 9 right. Mark, you came second, and Ian came third. Let's see how many people actually answered questions. Uncle Joe came fourth. So yeah, I think that is a feature that we will never do again. Let's bring David back.
I'd be very grateful.
How did Matt win?
That was a shorter version. That was a shorter.
By getting the answers
version.
right.
Yeah, that was a shorter version.
Yeah.
Of the 50 question quiz that I've got lined up for next week.
Whoa, that's Christmas
Whose
sorted.
phone's still buzzing?
I don't
That's
know.
mine. I don't know how to stop it. It's
We've got
an excitable phone.
There's conspiracy theories going on. Martin's saying that he got more than what's actually given to him. I'm really sorry, people. We just won't do this ever again. It seemed like a good idea when I thought of it yesterday.
Send Martin the stubby thing then.
Yeah, Matt, you can have the biro or whatever else I find in here. Right, let's get back to talking about rugby. Let's talk about Saturday night. Matt, first of all, who's going to win? How and what's the score going to be? How do you see it going on Saturday night? Let's talk a little. Let's try and get a little bit of normality, if that is possible, back to this.
Grand finals tend to be low scoring, don't they? So I'm going to go Wigan 33, Warrington 26.
What?
How many tries is Navarrete going to score?
All of them.
Even Warrington's.
He's going to score an own try. Oh man! Talking about the quiz, Phil says that we've made Brexit look simple. I think he's probably right. We really have. That is something that will definitely not happen. Ian says, tell Matt to add a picture of the shirts at oldrugbyshirts.com. There you go. And a bit of your knowledge about the blocks on there. And next thing you know, you'll be doing lectures at some university talking about the history of rugby shirts. Mark, how do you see? How do you see Saturday going? Do you see it being a Wigan win? Do you see it being the defensive foundation that gives them the victory?
Yeah, Wigan 16-6, I think, is how we're going to do it. Defence all the way. I fancy our back rowers to maybe get on the score sheet. So any one of Bateman, Farrell, or Greenwood to be the try scorers in the game, and the Harry Sunderland award winner will come from one of those three. Is my prediction.
Okay, David, your thoughts on where this game is going to be won and lost?
Yeah, defensively, I think we're going to win it 19-6. I think there's going to be a drop goal in there, not from Navarrete, Matt, before you start.
This is amazing. You're saying this without moving your lips. Like the video's
amazing.
Yeah, the video's slowly catching up. You look like a ventriloquist.
I can do that. I can live with that. Yeah, again, I think the back row, the pack will be important, and I think we've got enough in the forwards to sort of dominate Warrington now. I think with Greenwood, Farrell.
You're like laughing now at the point where you're actually talking. This is bizarre.
I can't even tell what he's saying now. I'm just watching his face move at a different time.
If you keep making him laugh, in a second he'll be talking sensibly, and it just doesn't work.
Have you finished now?
Oh my goodness!
It'll be all right on the night.
It's a live bloopers reel.
We should have just ended this last week, shouldn't we? David, when you catch this up in 10 seconds' time, Harry Sunderland Trophy Award, who do you think that's going to?
Sam Tompkins.
Okay, Matt, Harry Sunderland Trophy.
I'm tempted to say Tompkins too. He's going to make it hitters, isn't he? Last game, he's going to be there.
A few people are saying that here. Neil says Sam Tompkins drop goal to seal it. Martin says Sam Tompkins first try Bateman man of the match. Mark, your thoughts on what was I asking? Harry? Sorry, I've just been put off by a comment that my dad's just put on. Sean's grandma made that shirt. I mean, I don't think she made that specific shirt, Dad. That specific shirt that Matt's wearing. But yeah, that sort of just grabbed my attention then. I haven't got a clue what
grandma used to work in like the old factory or something.
Yeah, she used to work at Elgren, but that's made by Puma.
Elgren factory.
Yeah.
What do you think? You haven't told us your prediction.
I think we're gonna win. It's weird. Grand final week, I'm normally really, really, really nervous and sort of can't sleep and just But like for this week, so I honestly think Wigan could play anybody on Saturday from the Super League and beat them. I just think they're just in a position at this moment in time where they're good enough to beat anybody that they come up against. They've got a lot of confidence. They seem to have found a way to win in a way that suits them. But I just think you look at the big games that have happened this year, and it's defences that have won those games. The Challenge Cup semi-final, Catalans against Saints, the defence won it, aggressive defence won it. You look at the Challenge Cup final against Warrington, I think Catalan's defence won it. You look at the NRL Grand Final, I think defence won it for the Roosters. And you look at London against Toronto, and I think defence won that. And I think out of the two teams, I think things like this happen in, the patterns within the game that teams pick up from others and the sort of patterns that happen in tactics. And I just think Wigan have got that element of the game better than Warrington have. And I think Warrington are knackered. They looked out on the feet.
We shouldn't underplay how well Warrington's defence played against Saints. They were pretty good. But watching that game back, I think there was a few, or thinking of that game back rather than watching it back, I haven't watched it twice, there was a few opportunities Saints kind of let go slip in the middle of the pitch that hopefully we won't fall into the same trap of down the middle there, because there was that Tommy Makinson break, weren't there? And there was one from Barber late on as well. And I just think you need to take your chances, and that's going to be crucial, isn't it? Take your chances off your breaks. I'm
just laughing at David. David's still doing the quizzes that far behind it.
No, I'm laughing because literally, as you started slating Warrington, then saying they were knackered, etc., the other half just walked through the room. And obviously she's a Warringtonian, so I won't show you the hand gestures that she signalled towards my phone at that point. But yeah, I'm in the doghouse.
What's her prediction?
Cheers for that, Sean.
Yeah, well, we should have got her on. Substitute you out. She's probably not behind on the times.
Yeah, she'll probably just. I think she still thinks Des Drummond plays for Warrington.
No, he's knackered.
Yeah, he is.
I think they just Stanley Jean.
I think we've lost your sound now. Oh, it's kicking off. We've got a domestic. We're just, because this is so far delayed, we're just going to hear a scream from David, and then 10 seconds time we're going to see this frying pan coming across.
I don't know what your prediction is for Saturday. She said pass, being diplomatic.
I thought she said Cass. So they're not playing.
She's over a week behind.
It's catching.
Mark, did you tell me who you said for man of the match?
I did. I was a bit sitting on the fence. I gave 3 names, I think. So if I'm going to single one out, I'm going to go Joe Greenwood.
And I didn't give one. So I am going to go for Thomas Luluai to win it for a second time. I just think he was. I thought Luluai was awesome last week and had probably one of his best games since he returned from Wigan. This is a.
Been awesome for 2 months, hasn't he?
Yeah. That switch has worked.
His winning run, he's been awesome throughout it.
There's a comment that I've just lost on here, which is, I mean, this is sort of getting ahead of us, and we're not sort of saying we don't want to sort of do this too much. But George says, "How about Sean O'Loughlin letting Wayne lift it if it all goes well?" Yeah, I think that's a nice problem to sort of have and think about, isn't it? If that sort of comes up.
I don't think Wayne would let the players let him do that. I think he talks about the players being his mates and all that sort of stuff. I think he'd want to let the players have their moment. I don't think he'd want to be centre stage like that. I think he'd find that really uncomfortable.
I mean, to be honest with you, Max the Warrior could lift it first for as far as I'm concerned. So long as we're going to lift it at the end of the game, I don't really care, to be honest with you. You know, Ian Lennigan can come on and just lift it up if he wants to and take it home with him. Right, let's round it up. Matt has been working on whatever he's about to do for the best part of a week. There's rumours that he hasn't been into work because he's been doing rehearsals to get this right. So over to Matt for possibly the final one of this season, certainly final one of this season, or if not the final one of the year, who knows? Macaulay's Moment, sponsored by All Seasons Gardening in Maryport, who Stuart isn't on tonight because he's busy doing his invoices. He's obviously getting plenty of work. It's good to know that he's doing invoices and he doesn't take cash, and he actually provides invoices. So that's the kind
of.
He
made a big point of mentioning that.
He said if there's any anybody from HMRC watching, he is doing his invoices, and they are being submitted as they should be in accordance with HMRC regulations.
They've just seen all his holiday snaps, haven't they, from his honeymoon, and they're wondering how he's got so much cash. David better start putting his hands in the air now so that he times it up with. I think he's back live.
Is he? Say something, David. Say something funny. No, he's not.
The other ads shouting at me to get a tea on.
Yeah, well, we'll be quick. We'll be quick.
How does he do it?
it's magic, isn't it? Yeah. Britain's Got Talent. Here we go.
Look, I feel like I might let you down. It's nothing special. I was just hoping that you might have noticed that over the last few weeks I've been trying different things to try to broaden the appeal of the show a bit, make it more like an award-winning community show. I've tried some astrology, some very amateur meteorology. I tried, and I thought tonight for the exotic pet lovers, I'd do a bit of wolf handling. Okay, so in association with the Macaulay School of Dog Bothering, here is how to train your wolf. Now, the first thing you need is a wolf. I've got one I've trained earlier here. There he is, right? Now, obviously, he is a dangerous wild animal, but don't worry, he is well trained, aren't you? Yeah, I've trained him to do the sit. He's not doing it now. I've trained him to do the fetch. I've trained him to do the roll over, which he does quite readily during big occasions. I've trained him to do the Joel Monahan. You enjoyed that, didn't you? So I've trained him to do a lot of things, but the key is you've got to treat him. You've got to give him a little ball every so often to play with, but don't put him under pressure. If you put him under pressure, he will drop the ball and foul, won't you? Yeah. So you've got to be careful. What's that? White, middle class rap. You want some white middle class rap? Okay, well, if you insist then, seeing as it's you, here goes. Get the bling on. Get the horns on.
This is amazing by watching David in delay, by the way. It's really
That's all I've been doing for the last 5
minutes. Have you not caught up?
No, not at all.
Dave, this is for you. I'm a Wigan fan on Wigan Fans TV, and I'm really quite excited, as you can probably see. Going to Old Trafford, Theatre of Dreams. No need to be too frightened, because we've beaten every team. Yeah, Wolves are a threat, like a dangerous puppet. Steve Price is a man who's got his fingers up it. But Wayne will find a way to make these Wolves howl. They may have Darryl Clark, but we've got Sammy Powell. And we've got Sam at the back, Club and Benny in the pack, Lockers pulling all the strings, and Bateman will attack. Who's going to win? Come on, place your bets. My money's on us. We've got Navarrete. So put your hands in the air. Let me hear you say, we're going to beat the Wolves because we play the Wigan way. Put your hands in the air. Let me hear you say, we're going to beat the Wolves because we play the Wigan way. Put your hands in the air. Let me hear you say. We're going to beat the Wolves because we play the Wigan way. Wigan. Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, Matt, that was your best one yet. But
We were sat waiting for it, weren't we? But that was fast.
well done, Matt. That was amazing. It was worthy of any grand final. Yeah, your sister is obviously as impressed as she would be with your rapping. Yeah, well done with your wolf handling. Oh man, I don't know where to go. We need to end the show because that's. Just what
Have any of the viewers given predictions, Sean?
Yeah, we've got Ant, who is Mr. Uncle Joe's Mint Balls, says Wigan to win 26-14. Stuart, Wigan 17, Wolves 8. Man of the match, Tommy Luluai. Matty 28-12, 19-12, Neil Byrne. George, very specific.
We're all very confident, aren't we?
Yeah, George is very specific, though. Being down at half time will win 20 points to 12.
We were down the last two, weren't we? Last two grand finals.
Yeah,
Yeah. Stuart, Wigan 16, Wire 0, can't see them scoring past us. So everyone's pretty confident, which is pretty dangerous. And then Lucas has joined us to say up the wire. Welcome, Lucas. If you just watched, if you just watched a man put his hand up the backside of a wolf, that's what we do on this show. That is what we do. And yes, he wears horns and a bike lock around his neck. Right. Excellent. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. I'm going to say bye to David now because he'll say bye when we. Oh, he did it! Right, Matt. Super League Pod episode 202. Mark, I think 202.
202. We also had a short episode this week where we talked about the Man of Steel awards and some of the ridiculous votes that went on. Around that, Toby King of Warrington actually won our award for the biggest piss take out of Steve Prescott's legacy. So congratulations to Warrington for winning that award, along with the award they won for Club of the Year they won at the Man of Steel Awards. So 2 awards this week for them, big awards. Give it a listen.
And Matt, I hope you enjoy the grand final. And if I was you, I would record it so that you can actually watch it when you get back, and you can actually see what. Yes, there we go with the binoculars out. David's going to start laughing in a second. But thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for taking part in
there he goes
in the quiz that we'll never ever take part in and never ever do again. But thanks everybody for watching, and let's hope that we're talking about a Wigan victory the next time we speak. Thanks everyone.